a lot of the decoration with the flowers. I'm going to take one of them and see if I can't make the guide. So I want to make sure I have my guide showing. And I'm just going to go right in the middle of this particular piece. I have my shapes opened up. So I'm just going to go to Option and Shift to make that circle and zoom in a little bit and see this floral pattern. Now you can draw this from half the distance, like you can try to make half of this selection as one way, just kind of keeping it coming down to this piece. And you can flip this over. Here's the reflect tool, rotate tool. So I'll take this piece and just Option and click it on there and copy that over. And that gives me that equal symmetrical piece on either side, if you like that. If you want to do them freehand, you can. Just take the pen and trying to illustrate up here. Has a little bit of a point. Come down to here. I'm going to try to let that loop itself over. And here's the pen. So depending on if you want that ellipse, now I could draw that a little better. So I'll take the pen tool again and sketch that up here. And so it's like your interpretation of that particular piece. Okay. But for starters, I might just use this to start off with. And when you take a look, it has some of these lines. I'm going to take again, the pen tool or the line segment tool and just see if I can create some of these line segments here. So there's one. I'm going to hit the Command key to deselect it, and I'm just randomly trying to place these on here. See if it's going to work here. Whoops. So I'm just placing that one there, placing one over here, and it's trying to see if these are going to be equal distances. So here I have this selection, all these paths. And down in the profile, I'm just going to come down to where it has the point on either side. So select that one. There's other options that you can choose from. See if it'll give it to me here. So you can see and get a variety of these points down below. Up at the top, do the same. Just going to click and just kind of create a shape. And maybe a little bit smaller one. I'm just holding the Command key to let that go. And it makes this point, so there. Let's see if I can. So with these selected with the Shift key, and go into the uniform and just change some of those points, and you can use the arrow key to move those up if you'd like. And these all have fills on them, so I'm just going to take that off. So there's kind of one of the pieces. So I'm going to select all of this part, just move it so you can see it, and put it back. Group this together, and I'm going to take the rotation tool, and let's see if I have it here. Let's see, select this part. If I can click right on the center part, and then Option, and it'll let me make a copy of it. And I can duplicate it across. Now you can see it's getting a little bit larger. So I might want to continue dragging that across. So if it's going to be the rotation tool, I just click in to where the center piece is and then just drag this part over. And then I can rescale it. Now free transform is when you have these points and you can stretch this out, make that a little bit larger if you'd like. So you have these three pieces that are kind of somewhat symmetrical now that we have it asymmetrical. So I'm going to take the rotation tool, I have them all selected, and click. So here's the pieces, this one, and this one. So all three, select them all, or just take a selection box around it. Let's see if I have that first of all. Yep. And then just take the rotation tool, click in the center. That's the center point. And I'm holding the option which duplicates it, and just rotate it across a couple times. And then just hit Command D, and that'll give you that piece. So I kind of overdid a little bit. I didn't match exactly her design. But there's this piece with the rotation. Set it to the center, and then just drag this piece over there. Now this center circle right there is on the bottom of everything, so just go to Object, Arrange, and bring to the front. And this one you can also give a stroke to as well. And then when you take a look at the coloring, you can kind of get an idea of what you might want to come up with. So it's kind of a free-form shape. So I'll take this and I'll group it together and see if there's any of these other ones that are going to be similar to this. I'll shift key this down. You'll notice that all these lines go with it. So what you want to do is go to the scale tool, which is right here. And when you double click on the scale tool, it'll give you the palette. And inside in the parameters, I'm just going to put 50%, hit preview, and scale strokes and effects so they all go to that smaller size. So now they don't clog each other up. And I can rotate a little bit just to get that simple piece back there. So same idea when you take a look at one of these pieces. I could take this image, set it down here. This is grouped together, so I'm just going to go to Object, ungroup it. Just take one of these. Take this guy here, put it right there. Make this a little bit wider. Rotate a little bit. And zoom into it. And if I want to use the same one, I can always flip this over and rotate it, but here's the rotation tool. It's the center of there. I'm going to click on there, 360 divided by 5, and just hit copy and duplicate that across, so it's giving me that rotation. Now keep in mind, just for the speed of the demonstration, I'm not copying each one of them, but it's the option that you have to try to redraw that section. So I'll make these a little bit kind of duplicating themselves all the way through. Placing this one down here. And you take a look at this one has a little bit more of a angled piece, so I could take one of these selections and option. Object, ungroup it, take one of these, and elongate it, take the direct selection tool, and you can freeform it, or you can, probably easiest just to re-sketch some of this. So here's the direct selection tool, and you can take this out, redraw it. Now if there's a point right there, in the pen tool, there's a delete anchor point that allows you to take some of these out, these sections, so you can redraw them a little bit, depending on how close or how far apart you made them. So I could do this or just re-sketch it out. You can say I have a lot of points in here. So I can take this part and take some of these out. I have this path, which I can just stretch out, like so. And this one has a couple of pieces, so in the pen tool is the anchor point tool where you can click on this and drag out the handles like so. And I can take all these guys here. Shift key these pieces. Just move these separately. These are grouped together. So it's just a matter of redrawing it or using some of the parts that you may already have to place in there to get that detail. So here it is grouped together down below. Take the track selection tool. Over a little bit. That guy over a little bit. If you double click as something's grouped together, it's called the isolation mode. Once you get inside there to work from it, it's up here at the top. So here it is grouped together. I'll just rotate a little bit. And again, take the rotation tool, option and click right in the middle, and duplicate it. And this time I'll just draw a new piece on the front of this. And just using some of the pieces here. So here's the stroke. And the thickness of it. So now you have all of these floral pieces kind of collected. I just kept them all one color here. Let's see, just select this and group this together. Now, I didn't make an exact copy of it, but at least you can see where you can build that part up. And that gives you that selection. So you have all these pieces, and there's a way to place this in there so you can see what she has on the back. If I hide this, for example, you can see there's kind of a rectangular shape placed on there, and this is where it might get a little tricky. But I'll just place a shape on here, and you can either put it as white and kind of work over the top of it. There's ways to do it, but it might be a little more advanced down there. So for example, if I have that piece kind of hidden there, and I'll try to show you both ways if I can do it real quickly here. But let me try this section here. So most of the lettering here, you can kind of follow default. That's one piece. Here's the width tool. So I'm going to select this with the stroke and curve it, and then take the width tool and see if I can't stretch that piece out, both down at the bottom and the top. And this piece I'm just going to option and duplicate over to the side. Here's the pen tool. Doing the same. Take the width tool. See if I can't bring that out. So that gives you that initial selection. And then this pen tool here. See if I can connect these together. Here's an anchor point. Set that as a corner. So here's this path. And here's the pen tool. I'm just going to switch it so it goes the opposite direction. And bump that over a little bit. So hopefully that'll get that section there. So I'm just taking this off of this layer, copying it, paste it, place it in there like that. So that gives you a little bit. I'll show you one last segment on it as far as hiding that. So it kind of has it without all the colors. There's just a block on the front of it to make that section. And the rest of it might get a little